Hello, it's the Comics Kid 2099, and I am here for an episode of I Stand Alone. This is a series of videos that I do where I read a single issue of a comic book. Typically it's back issues, it's not anything very new. And I decide, does it stand alone, or do you need to know something about the characters and the story that's going on? Usually, in fact, so far, this is only what's happened. I am not especially familiar with what's going on in these series that I read, because I feel like it can be more authentic that way. If it's something that really is confusing to a new reader, it will be confusing to me because, in the case of today, I haven't been reading Green Arrow from the 1990s. This is issue 133, written by Chuck Dixon, drawn by someone named Braithwaite, I don't know. This is when Connor Hawke was the Green Arrow, and his father was either dead or believed to be dead. At one point, Connor Hawke was actually a member of the Justice League, who you can see on this cover. And at some point in this issue, somebody says, "We miss you in the League." And so I guess at one point or another he left the League. I don't remember if that happened in the Justice League comic or if it happened in the Green Arrow comic. I have read some of the 90s Justice League, specifically what was written by Grant Morrison and later Mark Waid. I do not remember if he quit in that title, though. It's been a little while since I've read those comics. So, the big question, does this comic stand alone? I'm going to say yes and no. On the one hand, the conflict is pretty cut and dry. You've got a whole bunch of monsters in this city, I think it's LA, that Green Arrow is fighting in, and they are victims of a drug attack or something. An alien has come to Earth and given drugs to these people. It gives them superpowers, but it also kind of affects their minds, and in some cases, it makes them very monstrous looking. Green Arrow has been dealing with this for a little while. At the very beginning of the issue, all of what I've just told you has already happened. But you find that out through the course of this issue. And the Justice League, they come to town to help Connor Hawke deal with this. And we find out a guy named Eddie has also been affected. We're not sure if he took drugs willingly or if the aliens kind of forcibly turned him into what he is. But he's one of the least severe mutations. He just has super strength, and he's a little bit more grumpy than what Connor Hawke says he usually acts like, but he's, like I say, one of the least severe mutations. We don't really know what Eddie's relationship with Connor is. I have read another Green Arrow story from a little bit around this time period that I think was also written by Chuck Dixon, so I actually do kind of sort of know what Eddie's relationship with Connor is. But if you're only reading this issue, it's not really given to you. He's just a guy that Connor Hawke knows. And I kind of wish we could have gotten a little bit more of an idea of what's at stake here. What happens if the Justice League can't find these cures for this illness? Is this guy Connor's next door neighbor that he's known for a week? Is he his lifelong friend? We don't know. So like I said, the conflict is actually pretty cut and dry. There's this illness going around in San Francisco caused by some alien drugs, and the Justice League has to find a cure and give it to these people before they die. Most of this issue is just a fight with characters who are not regular Green Arrow characters. So you have Wonder Woman, Superman, the Martian Manhunter. They're fighting these monsters in LA, and that doesn't really have a whole lot of bearing on the story because they're mainly just there kind of keeping damage control. So I do wish this comic had been a little bit more about Green Arrow doing something of a permanent solution for these people. And we did get a little bit of that, but unfortunately I think it was mostly just about a little less than half of this comic that he was doing that. Most of the comic seemed to just be the Justice League members fighting these monster people. Here's where I say it doesn't quite stand alone. If you have not been reading any comic from the 90s from DC Comics, you might not know why Superman looks like he came from out of a volcano and has electricity bouncing off of him. And if you read the comic, Wonder Woman actually calls herself Hippolyta, and she has a very holier-than-thou attitude, even more so than the normal Wonder Woman. Now, if you've never read a comic book before, you might not know that Wonder Woman's real name is Diana. And so when this woman says that she is Hippolyta, you might be not really concerned about that. You might not know that anything is up. If you've read a few comics here and there, you might be saying, wait a minute, what's up with that? You might also be saying the same thing about Superman Red here. I've been reading comics for 12 years, and I don't know a whole lot about the Superman Blue, Superman Red thing. I don't know what caused it. I don't know why there were two Supermen. I especially don't understand why in Grant Morrison's Justice League, Superman Blue was a member of the League, but here it's Superman Red. Are there different personalities with each Superman? Is it the same one and he changes his costume? We don't know. And since Superman is not a Green Arrow character, he's just a guest star, I guess that's not especially important. Does this comic make you want to come back for the next issue of Green Arrow? I would say it does a decent enough job seeding everything that you need to know to understand what's going on here. You might want to come back, I don't know. This comic book, it's not as bad as some things from the 90s that are very typically 90s, but it's not an especially fantastic comic. It's just sort of there. We do get a weird little epilogue on the last page. There's a cult called the Brass Monkey, and they want to kill Connor Hawke. I don't know anything about the Brass Monkey. Even in that comic book that I said I read earlier featuring Connor Hawke from around this time period, the Brass Monkey was there. I still don't know what they are or why they hate Connor Hawke. So I guess that would be a nice little cliffhanger. If you have never read Green Arrow, you might want to get the next issue just to find out what is up with this cult. So, yeah, I think this comic, for the most part, does stand alone. There are a few aspects of it that, even as a longtime reader of comic books, I'm a little bit like, wait a minute, how did this happen? Where is this thing going on? Other than that, I think it does a pretty good job. I hope you found this video to be very enjoyable, and if you did, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, all the things that you do on YouTube videos. And I hope you guys will stick around. Soon, in a week or two, I will do another installment of I Stand Alone. This time it will be a Marvel comic book. So look forward to that, and in the meantime, look for videos showing up on my channel almost every day. I'll see you then.